Hi, my name is Matt Kosterman. I'm a 56-year-old white guy living in Chicago, Illinois. For the first 50 plus years of my life, I didn't think I was allowed to be here. Not just here in Chicago, but here, on Earth, in a body. I suffered from depression for most of my life. I smoked my first joint at age 11 and had my first drink of Southern Comfort straight from the bottle at age 13. While the cannabis never really took hold as an addiction, I drank alcohol for the next 20 years, many times to excess. In 1998, I began psychotherapy, and in the year 2000, I started on antidepressants. I spent 12 years on them and 15 years in traditional talk therapy. Meanwhile, I built a successful business, became a father to 2 amazing girls, and rehabbed an old house in a nice suburb. I did all the things. In 2010, I went through divorce, foreclosure, and bankruptcy. Fun times. After much flailing about, I got my head on straight in 2015, only to begin experiencing severe chronic pelvic pain along with fibromyalgia. I spent nearly 3 years in the Western medical system trying desperately to heal. In 2018, out of money and out of patience, my healing journey really kicked into gear after my first magic mushroom trip. The years since have been an amazing and challenging ride. I've traversed the physical and not-so-physical worlds and been fortunate to work with many, many talented healers. As a result of all my efforts, I now find myself in a place of receiving, contentment, and prosperity, the likes of which had eluded me for most of my life. There's a man named Daryl Anka who channels a being called Bashar. Bashar describes the process of engaging with a healer, that of giving yourself what is essentially a permission slip to move towards wholeness, healing, and right relationship. This podcast is an effort to share some of what I've learned and introduce you to some of the people and ways that literally gave me what feels like my permission slip for existence. It's also an effort to continue to spread the word that the traditional Western medical system, while effective for a great many things, is not necessarily the be-all, end-all solution to every health problem, especially when the problem may be more spiritual than it is physical, as it was in my case. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoy it. Please like, subscribe, and do all the social media things that help spread the word. Share these links with people directly in your community. It is my sincere hope that you and others will benefit from my experiences. Hi, and welcome back. Thanks for joining us on The Permission Slip. I'm Matt Kosterman, just like it says on the tin. And I am here with Shweta Shyamani, a wonderful friend whom I met via a dating site. We went on a date. We had the same interests, and we have become friends over the last, I think 3 years.
Yeah.
So welcome, Shweta. It's
Thank
good to see you.
It's great to see you.
Shweta she works as a clinical hypnotherapist, an energy intuitive. She works with, you said Whole Med out of Los Angeles, and is also leader of wonderful retreats for women, empowerment retreats for women, one of which is coming up in Portugal. So welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here.
It's awesome to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and Rocco's here too. That's her cute little dog who's right next to her. He might have a word or two to say. We'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll see what he has to say.
Right now he's giving himself a manicure.
He's my little Zen master.
So we met a couple years ago, and then I ended up doing a rapid transformation therapy session with you, right? Is that what it is? RTT?
Yeah. We actually met during COVID. I think it was like...
Or just right after.
Just right after.
Yeah. So tell us about... So the purpose of the podcast, the reason I started it, is to expose the wider world to this world of so-called alternative healing methods. And they're alternative because they're not Western medicine as we've known it for so many years. And so I find your background particularly fascinating because you went the full 3D route with with a master's and an MBA from Northwestern University, from Kellogg, so one of the premier institutions in the world for these things. And then somewhere after that, things took a turn. So,
fell off the cliff.
Yeah, so give me a little bit of your origin story and your heritage and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I had always wanted to go to Northwestern and get an MBA. And I had thought that I was going to be, a corporate raider. I wanted to be like the chief marketing officer of a big multinational company. And I was in the financial services sector when I was going to grad school and doing really well, like, quickly growing my career in that field, and was positioned to really create what I thought it was that I wanted. And so on paper, it looked like I had the perfect job and the perfect, trajectory. And I was absolutely miserable. Sound familiar?
Yeah. Anybody else out there with?
Yeah. Everything looks good on paper, but you're dying inside. And so I would literally close the door to my beautiful corner office and cry. And I would call my parents and they're like, well, what is it specifically? And I didn't know. I didn't have the language yet. I hadn't really started my personal growth journey to be able to articulate that this was totally out of alignment.
And how old were you when this was about? Roughly?
I was in my about 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was just miserable. And one day something happened, and I can't even recall specifically what it was, but I found myself standing up, walking into the office of my boss's boss, the chief marketing officer, and hearing myself resign. So I was like a third person in the room.
You're like watching this happen.
I was watching this happen.
Like a little Muppet.
Totally. Right? Like I was just a fly on the wall, but I was observing myself doing this and taking this radical action. I had no plan. I had no resume that was current. Like I had nothing, but something had happened, and it was the last straw. And
at
my
work.
higher at work.
At work.
Yeah, at work.
Yeah.
At work.
Yeah.
And it was like my higher self that just like picked me up, walked me into
Marched
the
you in there.
office, and here I am hearing myself resign. And this was on September 6th, 2001.
Oh my.
So 5 days later, we all know what happened.
Yeah.
And I was in the financial services sector. I lost a friend at 9/11 and knew people who died in that horrific on that day. And we didn't know what was going to happen, after that. But I had already submitted my resignation, and I wasn't going to change my mind. So the day before my last day, I presented it was a big project that I was working on that was coming to its completion. I presented it to the board of directors, and then that was it. And then I didn't know. I went into the unknown. I didn't know what was next. And when people asked me why I left, I couldn't tell them why, other than I was just really, really unhappy. And now, knowing what I know about the mind-body connection, I have no doubt that had I stayed in that corporate career, my body would have reacted with some sort of a disease.
Yeah. Yeah.
Autoimmune, cancer, who knows what it would have been. But something to reflect in my physicality, the misalignment that path was for me. So, people say like, you're so courageous. And I'm like, it was really an act of self-preservation. It wasn't premeditated and it wasn't intentional. Right. So I can't take credit for it.
for being courageous.
No, I can't take credit for being courageous.
There's some level of courage there. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I didn't backpedal after 9/11.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm out. So that was the story. And then I became an entrepreneur for a while. And all the while, sort of in the background, was my mom's journey. And my mom became ill when I was 6 years old, with what decades later, we think probably was Lyme.
Oh, Lyme
So
disease,
we
okay.
were in Wisconsin Dells and going through the forest on one of those duck rides. And she was bitten by something. We don't know what. But the next day she woke up and half of one side of her body was paralyzed. And so she had some sort of a reaction to this bug bite, and people thought she was crazy, and nobody knew what it was. And
It's
my parents,
psychosomatic, right?
right. Like
what's
what,
not?
What exactly? Everything is, right?
It all is, yeah.
We all know that.
Yeah.
So we, my parents, I was really young at the time, so my parents went to a number of different specialists, and they told her, like, we don't know what it is, but you're not going to live. And so you need to just, make arrangements,
wrap things up
for your children, and and so on. And she had such a strong will, and she's lost her mother when she was 9, and she's like, that's not what's going to happen to my children. So she started looking for alternatives. And, I'm Indian. And so having like homeopathic remedies and Ayurvedic remedies in our house was, rather common and not unusual at all.
Were your parents born in India or were they born here?
They were born there. I was born there.
You were born there. You were born. Okay.
Yeah. So we moved to this country when I was 2. So I was just a baby. But all of these things were familiar to us, right? Like in our home, these Ayurvedic things and sort of like all of the natural remedies that are just in our kitchen, herbs and spices and so on and so forth. And so my parents started looking for alternatives for my mom, and they were following conventional Western medicine, but it didn't have any answers for her. And so all of this was still happening. She was still, taking medication that her rheumatologist prescribed because the situation flared. Her movement came back, and it turned into an autoimmune condition. And later they found Lyme antibodies in her blood, but at the time they didn't even know. Like Lyme disease was not a thing.
This is what 20,
this was in like the
25
mid-70s.
Oh yeah. Like
so
40 years ago, 50 years ago.
It was a long time ago, and Lyme disease was not on anybody's radar at the time. So anyway, so all the while we were dealing with my mom's health. And so here I am in this gap.
Now you're mid-30s, early mid-30s, and your mother's still alive, but not doing great. Or
struggling. Struggling. Lots and lots of different things arose as a result of the autoimmune conditions that she had. And she'd had a back surgery. I think it was her 4th one. And everything had gone well, according to the surgeon. And yet she was in a tremendous amount of pain. And he said to her, just rather matter-of-factly, well, you're just going to have to live with it because I did everything right. So it was about him. It wasn't about her at all.
Right.
And so she was devastated because she was in so much pain that how could she, go on? Yeah. I mean, even morphine sometimes didn't help.
Wow.
It didn't help. And so I just said, we're done. We are so done with this. We have to look for something off script. And she had tried homeopathic and Ayurvedic things, and they hadn't given her the level of relief that she was seeking. So that's how I became familiar with energy healing, because we were looking for a solution for her. And somebody that I knew had just graduated from a program called Lifeline Technique.
Okay.
And so I looked into that, and that ended up being the first thing that I studied. And that was the first certification that I got doing this healing work. So it was really in service of finding relief for my mother and really seeing where so many of the shortcomings of Western medicine are. Western medicine is phenomenal for acute situations and emergent situations, but for chronic conditions, it sucks.
Yeah, it's terrible. Right.
It's really, really bad.
Yeah. Actually, I think it was sort of as I was waking up or the other night, I just was having this picture of, as new beings are being born and we bring with us our own, our soul's karma, we bring with us, we come into the world with whatever we come into. And it's just like, there's just been more and more and more. And then you look at the Western model and it just keeps trying to make more and more compounds and drugs to mask the symptoms.
Yeah.
And none of it gets at the root energetic emotional causes.
No, it doesn't. And I mean, even trained MDs and Western doctors are acknowledging this, right? So Whole Med, which is something that I'm involved in that you mentioned at the intro, it's developed by 2 physicians who recognize the gaps in the Western methodology. And they're both one is double board certified, another one is specializes in infectious disease. So they're highly trained, skilled professionals in the medical model, and they're acknowledging, like, this isn't the whole story. Yeah. So even doctors are awakening to the fact that there's more.
Right.
There's more. The body is not just a machine. It is to some degree, but there's more. There's so much more.
There's that part of it.
Right.
The machine part, and then there's all the other layers.
And there's all the other things. But the machine also is is a sum that is far greater than its parts.
Yeah.
Right. So,
So you
and the
did-
parts all connect, right? So Western medicine has become so specialized.
Yeah.
And it's like, who's quarterbacking, right? And even talking among all of the specialists.
Sure.
And unfortunately, that's not happening.
It's not happening.
And
No,
so
it's
that's
expensive. I mean,
it's expensive, and the model isn't built for that.
no. The model is to generally to find you a pill or a surgery.
Right.
You know, if the surgery works, great. If not, here's this pill for the rest of your life.
Yeah. And by the way, it has this long list of side effects,
yeah.
that our lawyers are making us tell you that it has, otherwise we wouldn't.
Yeah. Right. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you did Lifeline,
I did Lifeline. Mhm.
and then how much relief was your mother able to get through energy work?
Well, so the relief that she was able to get sometimes, actually, there was one time that, as I mentioned earlier, morphine didn't even work. And I did a Lifeline session on her, and it relieved her pain down to probably, I don't know, level 3
Yeah.
out of like 50. She was miserable. And she was able to find relief to the degree that she allowed herself
Right.
to explore her emotions.
Okay.
And she came from a generation and a culture and a family where emotions were unwelcome. And she didn't want to rehash things from the past. And me being her daughter, she certainly didn't feel like she wanted to rehash them with me.
Right.
So I was never going to be the one that could help her completely resolve what was going on in her body.
Yeah.
That wasn't going to be our journey together.
Yeah. Yeah.
But because of the work that I did and all of the things that I studied, I was able to offer some relief.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
And I've been able to help so many other people
Yeah.
as a result.
Yeah. It's amazing. So it was the catalyst.
Yeah.
It was like your higher self knew something, needed to.
Yeah. I mean, all of her suffering put me on my path.
Yeah.
I wish it didn't have to be that way, but it was in trying to find some relief for her.
I mean, coming from someone who all my suffering put me on my path, I'll take somebody else's suffering.
Somebody else's over my own. Yeah, I guess so. In that regard,
It's all relative.
Yeah, it's all relative. Yeah.
But we're all one. So her suffering is your suffering. I mean, it
was in many, many other ways.
For sure.
It really was. It was hard.
Yeah.
All those years. It was hard to watch, and it was hard. I mean,
when did she cross
my mom
over?
My mom passed just 7 years ago.
Okay.
So it was decades.
Yeah,
of pain, of suffering, of hardship. And it impacted her whole family.
Sure.
Understandably.
Sure.
Yeah.
So Lifeline. So what are some of the more the more powerful and I always use the word productive. I don't know, somebody gives me a hard time for that. I'll say, well, I did this, psilocybin journey, and it was really productive. And they're like, well, like I got a lot out of it. I don't know how else to put it, but I know I did the Marissa Peer's RTT with you, the hypnosis, which I found that was the first time and only, I think, to date that I've been hypnotized, and it was super interesting.
Yeah.
And,
I remember that session.
Yeah, it's
pretty cool.
I knew what was going on, but I wasn't controlling what was going on.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
And it was definitely a shift in my trajectory for the better. It was really powerful. So what kind of things are you blending today? What are you bringing? How do you work with people? And
so I definitely, energy has to be a piece of it. Quantum physics has acknowledged that everything is energy, and so we can't leave that out of the conversation. People don't really understand the energy body, but the energy body is formed at the very beginning. So our nervous system is the first to form in a fetus, and our nervous system, as you know, is electrical. And wherever an electrical field exists, a magnetic field is created, right? So the electromagnetic system is formed at the same time as our nervous system. So the electromagnetic system is energy. Right? It's our bioenergetic system. And so when we work with the bioenergetic system, we're impacting our nervous system. And right now, everybody's talking about the nervous system.
Yeah, parasympathetic, sympathetic, fight or flight. Yeah.
Fight or flight, the vagus nerves, all that.
Fawn is the third, right?
Fawn is the third.
Yeah.
So, and then there's polyvagal theory, which I'm bringing into my work because I think that everything is really rooted in the nervous system, and the nervous system impacts every one of our other systems, right? It's central to everything that is physical.
And I would take it because of the training that I've had in the fascial work, that the fascial system actually impacts the nervous system, because the fascial system is where the light moves through the body, and it moves faster than the electrochemical systems of the nervous system. And it's the thing that's feeling into the room, that's feeling other people, and informing the nervous system at some level. So the two work, they all work hand in hand, but particularly the fascial system and the nervous system.
Yeah. And the fascial system, it's crystalline, right?
Right.
And so it's impacted and impacts the bioenergetic field.
Yes.
Right. And it's instant. Right. It's so much faster than the nervous system. And the biochemistry.
It's ahead of your brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the energy needs to be a big part of it. And so what is energy? Well, energy is our life force, but energy is also impacted by our thoughts, right? Our thoughts are actually packets of mental energy. Mm-hmm. And so that gives us the basis for the mind-body connection, right? Like our thoughts impact the physiology. And Candace Pert wrote a book called The Molecules of Emotion. And I think she received a Nobel Prize. I feel like she received a Nobel Prize for her work. She has since passed, but she's the one who discovered neuropeptides.
Okay.
And neuropeptides are the chemicals that are created as a result of a thought. And so there's a thought, there's some sort of a signal, and then a neuropeptide is formed.
Okay.
So it's like the initiation of something that's physical. If a neuropeptide is physical, then that's where the non-physical to physical barrier is being crossed.
That's the bridge.
Right.
That's the bridge. So you have this thought, you form a neuropeptide, which is a chemical within your body, is it bloodstream? Is it carried in there?
I don't know.
Within the body. I don't know.
Somewhere in the body.
I know. I injected peptides in my stomach for a while trying to fix one of my problems.
It might be the endocrine system. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
So,
but that's the basis.
But there's a bridge. I think that to me, like the neuropeptides are the bridge that now translates something that's a signal that's non-physical into a signal that is physical. Mm-hmm. And then the neuropeptides lock into, something on the cell, the receptors.
Some kind of receptor.
Yeah.
Sure.
So then it starts the biochemical cascade that results from a thought, right? So I don't know how we got down this rabbit hole.
Well, you said everything's energy, which it is, and I think that's people use that a lot, but it's true. I mean, if you like literally, I've been a car's tires rolling on the ground, they don't actually touch the ground. Like there's an energetic nothing is truly solid when you come down to it. You could thread a small enough needle through the body without hurting anything.
I mean that's
at the subatomic level.
Exactly.
Right. It's all these spinning. Even the particles, I don't think are actually particles. They're
not.
They're
They're potentials.
Right.
So, they're potentials coming in and out of existence.
It's like Schrodinger's cat, and the whole. Is it a cat? Is it the cat in the box? It is if you look at it. It's not if you don't. Tree fall down in the forest. All those kind of things.
Yeah. All of those things.
So it's all energy, and the thoughts. So so somebody comes in. And then the other thing is you have a physical body, you have an emotional body, you have an energetic body, you have an etheric body. There's all these different layers of one's body, and you're focused primarily on the energetic body.
That's part of the not primarily, no, because we find out like if somebody comes to me with a physical issue that like they've been trying to get fixed by conventional means and it hasn't, then I'll look at that as a clue where the energies may be impeded, right? So if they're like, I have IBS and nothing is working, or I have food sensitivities or whatever, then that gives me some idea of like where to look in the corresponding energy body and work there. Because whenever we have pain or whenever something isn't working, that means that there's an impediment in the flow of energy or there's excess energy, right? It's out of balance. It's either too much or too little.
Got it.
And then it's not connecting. Like energy wants to flow. Think of water. Like when water stagnates, what happens?
Yeah.
Right.
Mosquitoes.
Right. There you go. And it gets stinky and moldy and icky.
Yeah.
But when the water flows, then it
It's a clean river, stream, brook, whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so the energy is the same. The energy wants to flow. And so we start using what may be going on physically, if people come to me for physical things, as a starting point to where we can look for the corresponding hiccups in their energy body. So people come to me for stuff like that. And then also with emotional stuff. Anxiety is something that I work with people very often.
Yeah.
And sadly, like the people that come to me are getting younger and younger. So before it used to be just kind of, I don't know, our contemporaries.
Sure.
And now it's like 20-somethings and 12-year-olds. And I don't really work with kids. I've made exceptions for some specific things, but children and young adults are really struggling with anxiety, and they're being put on medications really, really early.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's crazy.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with my father, who's 78, the other day, and the kids these days, there's a lot of, they're in this anxiety, and I'm like, well, yeah, Dad, the world's pretty crazy.
Yeah. You think?
It's pretty,
It's crazy.
It's pretty crazy, and the future can look pretty bleak.
Sure can.
Which then starts these thoughts, survival and fight or flight, and then everything goes out of whack. So, but it's so, and then you're doing, is that you just, depending on what it is, you grab the tool in your bag that you're feeling into that's most appropriate.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Rapid Transformational Therapy is really a great way to get to root cause.
Yeah.
Like energy work gets to root cause, but the mind likes to understand. Like, why?
Got to make
why
sense
is
of
this
it. It has to create a story.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
And you got to create new stories, which was what's cool about RTT. It creates new stories.
It does create new stories, but it understands why you have the story that you have in the first place.
Yeah.
That's where the power lies.
And I love Marissa Peer's, like the 5 things with, like, you're not enough, you're not allowed. What are the core beliefs, the core false beliefs?
Yeah, the three is like, you're not enough, what I want isn't available to me, and I'm different, so I don't belong.
Yeah, so those are sort of
those are the 3 kind of core wounds,
right,
or some derivation thereof that people will have. And I'm not enough is the biggest one.
Yeah.
It's the biggest one. And no matter how successful, how beautiful, how thin, how smart people are,
how many cars,
how
many houses,
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And the time that I learned that this was just part of the human condition was Meryl Streep was being interviewed for something. And she is like the gold standard of acting. Right? Like everybody, like, you leave me here with like, oh, she's no Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
Right? She is the gold standard, the most Oscar nominations of any actress. And she was being interviewed and she said, when I receive a script, I look at it and I wonder, do they really want me?
Sure.
Am I worthy of this role? And right there I thought, okay, if Meryl Streep is experiencing I'm not enough, right?
Yeah.
Like, then this is just a part of the human condition.
It just is.
It's not about anything other than the fact that there is some part of us as humans that doubts our worthiness.
Yep.
And so...
And people, for a long time, they wanted to just pin it on, on artists. What's the term? Like the imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's...
Acting's an art. I mean...
For sure.
Yeah. And I had that in my photography career for years. I was always nervous. Am I going to mess this up? My coach, Melissa, who I've interviewed, she's like, I would say this to her, I think I'm going to mess it up. And she's like, how many times have you messed up? And I said, none. She said, it's a pretty good chance you're not going to mess it up.
Right. And if you did, like, what you figure it out.
And is the world going to come to an end? No.
No.
Right. Maybe I don't get the picture,
Right.
like that one picture. But there's this track of the mind that I'm not enough. I can't do it. I'm not good enough.
Right.
That we're born with somehow. It's not everybody, but man, a lot.
Almost everybody. And that doesn't mean that you don't feel enough across the board. Some people do, but it just means that, there may be some things that I really am going to second or third guess myself in. So.
Yeah. And so then with the RTT, which is a hypnosis based thing, you work to craft a new story.
Yeah.
Right.
You discover where the origin story of the story that you're saying to yourself began. Like, where did you learn this? Where did you decide
Yeah.
that you're not enough, because no baby comes out of their mother thinking they're not enough. They cry when they need something, right? Like
Right.
they're not like, oh, it's the middle of the night, I'm going to wait until it's, morning.
I don't want to bother anybody.
Right? Exactly. Like,
They're
no
born to
baby-
bother people.
They're born to bother people, and they do.
And they do, yeah.
So no baby comes out that way. So it's something that's learned. It's something that's 100% learned. So we discovered, like, where did you learn this? Where did you learn this? That I'm not lovable. That's another really common one of not feeling lovable.
And this is done through an interview process, through a coaching.
Yeah, there's an
process.
extensive intake, and then you do the hypnosis just to really understand where in the subconscious the story came together. And so you unpack it, and then once you discover that, you do some healing work while you're under hypnosis. And hypnosis is nothing like crazy. It's really just slowing down the brain waves so that you can access deeper material in the subconscious. Your subconscious has recorded everything that you have ever experienced, including in utero experiences. So things that are happening to your mother while you're in her body, you are encoding into your nervous system and your subconscious. And things will come up sometimes that are in utero experiences that people have during the RTT session. I mean, even past life stuff.
I was going to say past life. Yeah,
absolutely, it can. It's part of your storyline.
Yeah.
Right. And so absolutely it can.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure. And even in the energy work that I do, sometimes we will work with past life material, themes from past lives that are presenting in your current life. And we close, I call them their wormholes. And in quantum physics, everything is just one eternal now, right?
Yeah.
Past, present, and future occur simultaneously.
Right. It's all
so when past life stuff comes up, I just simply liken it to, there is a room next door that some part of you is experiencing while you're experiencing this lifetime. And instead of a wall between the two, there's a screen. So there's some bleed through. There's some bleed through. And so we just turn it back into a wall.
Yeah.
We close it. And so then that influence no longer exists. And there's also legacy. There's also stuff that we pick up through our generational, lines. And so sometimes that will show up in work, that there's, let's say, a miasm is what it's called, is a generational miasm of 8 generations on your father's side of being suspicious.
Right. Or unworthiness,
or anger, or depression. It could be anything.
Resentment.
But once we start clearing the energy of those generational influences, then we are working with you and your story. And then where are your specific threads that formed the story that you have? And then once we heal that and clear that and upgrade it, then we create the story that you want to create intentionally, rather than what has formed subconsciously and unintentionally.
Wow, amazing. So you had the RTT training several years ago.
Yeah.
Right. And then since then you've become clinically certified as a hypnotherapist as well.
Yeah.
And it was that to advance this work, the RTT work, basically?
Yeah, the clinical certification was an additional 9 months of training that I did with the RTT school.
Okay.
So I just finished that last month.
Oh, congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
So it just deepens my level of understanding and ability to deal with more complex situations.
Okay.
So yeah, it's great. I feel like RTT really filled that gap of helping people understand. So now you've got the energy piece, and then you've got the beliefs, and the mental models, the subconscious material from the RTT. So both of those really are effective.
And I find it's an interesting parallel, but a discontinuous parallel between psychotherapy, which I like to, I'm maybe not as nice about as I could be, but
you don't have to be nice with me. I have people that come to me almost every discovery call. People will say, "Oh, I've been in therapy for fill in the blank
for how many
number of years."
Well, I was just going to say, so it's you have these conversations in therapy.
Yeah.
Right, about, it came from that. But it tends, in my experience, and a lot of people that I've spoken with, it tends to be the same conversation.
Yeah.
Over and over. And I worked with this great Zen Buddhist monk who's a coach now, Alex Mill. And it was back in 2015. He said, you can say in therapy, it's fine. He said, but you're going to keep pulling the past into the now.
Right.
And where I think this work is different. Is that, yes, it pulls it up, but now we're reprogramming it,
Yes.
which has the effect of either eliminating or massively reducing the impact of those old stories on your life going forward.
Totally.
So
Totally.
it's like therapy in a sense, but therapy kind of only gets it like unearthed, maybe. If you have a good working relationship with your therapist and you trust them and you're able to go to those places with them.
For sure. Therapy can be beneficial. I was in therapy for, some months for an issue, and therapy can be beneficial to help uncover
Yeah.
what may be happening or why you feel the way that you do. Oftentimes it doesn't even do that. You just talk about stuff, and
Right.
there can be some sense of relief in talking about it. But what the research has shown is that constantly talking about painful experiences re-traumatizes us
Yeah.
at the level of the nervous system, right? And so the nervous system doesn't know the difference between something that is vividly imagined or something that you're experiencing real time.
Yeah.
And so if you're recounting every week at 4:00 on Wednesday with your therapist that,
The time you got spanked or the time you got raped or the time that you got whatever.
then as far as your nervous system is concerned, that's happening to you again.
Yeah.
And so you're actually anchoring it more deeply into your body and mind than you would if you weren't talking about it every week.
Right. Now, there are things like EFT, emotional freedom
Absolutely.
technique, with the music therapy, EMDR.
Yep.
It was useless for me, but that's okay. I know a lot of people that have benefited greatly from EMDR,
Yeah, I use EFT in my practice.
which is a tapping technique.
Which is
for the,
tapping. Yeah, you're tapping on certain acupuncture points.
Right.
And you're sending a piezoelectrical current through the body to move that emotion through. And it's very, very effective.
Yeah.
It's really effective. And
It's interesting. I went to a fundraiser years ago. It's 2019 with Rick Doblin from MAPS, the psychedelic people, and Hamilton Morris was there, and the head of the Bronx VA hospital, the psychiatric unit, was there, Rachel Yehuda, Dr. Yehuda. And this is not to diss individual therapists or psychiatrists. It's a model that they've come up in. But she said psychiatry in this country is broken. She said it's treated, the patient is treated as an annuity.
wow.
Like, when that person comes through the door and you got them for years.
Wow. That's heartbreaking.
And it's the way this capitalist society is structured, where you look at it across the board with medicine, with pharmaceuticals. It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. And so I've always loved it when I found people that have said, like, my goal is to get you out of here. Like, I don't want to see you every week. I don't.
Absolutely.
Even my coaching engagement with Melissa was 13 months, and then
We're done.
We're done.
Yeah.
Fly,
Yeah.
little birdie.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree. I tell clients that, if we're working together for a couple months and you feel the needle hasn't moved, then I am not your person.
Right. And you might not be the person for everybody.
And I might, no.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think I've worked with so many different healers and coaches myself, and I know that you have, and I feel like there isn't a single solution for any of us. Like, in this part of my journey, I needed this person.
Right.
And they showed up.
Right.
And then in my next part of my journey, I need somebody else. And so I very much feel like I am part of a team of people. Either simultaneously, people will come to me that are seeing other healers or other therapists, and we're working concurrently together. Or they will have worked with somebody and completed with them, and then all of a sudden, somehow, I come across their path.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a lot of really amazing, capable healers and practitioners, and even physicians. The founder of WholeMed, I mean, she's an MD, and she is a phenomenal clinician and physician. And
she's open to
she
things that
understands the limitations of that model.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And so she formed a team with myself and other practitioners that complement where her training leaves off.
Sure. Yeah.
So
which is
we
great.
can really do a holistic, integrative mind, body, spirit approach.
So when somebody goes to WholeMed, which is based in LA, then they'll do, if they get referred out to you, then you do virtual.
Yeah, I am the only team member right now that's virtual.
That's virtual.
Everybody else is LA based, but I'm not ready to move quite yet.
Ready to do that.
I love Chicago winters.
Yeah. They are regenerative in their way.
Yeah, well,
It makes you appreciate summer all that much more.
something like that.
Right. I mean,
something like that.
if it's 80 degrees every day, what?
I know. Boring. Yeah.
So that now your work has also taken you into organizing these powerful women's retreats. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So
How did that come about?
the woman that I do the women's retreats with, it's Goddess Within Retreats is our company. And she was a client of mine for years. She actually lives in Florida, and she was referred to me and through another client that happened to live in Florida. And we worked together. This was like pre-Zoom days. So we just did phone sessions.
Okay.
And we worked together for years and had not met. And then she came to Chicago and we met. And then she already had a retreat business. And she said, I'd love to do something together at some point. And then some point just 3 years ago happened.
Oh, wow.
And so we started doing these spiritual women's retreats. And we definitely see them expanding into something that's more of a co-ed experience. But this was a good starting point for us because women are hungry to reconnect with their feminine energy, even though they might not use that language.
Yeah.
And women are seeking sisterhood. They're seeking girl time. They're seeking getting more into their feeling and emotional bodies. And so that's what we do. They're amazing retreats where we do personal growth work and spiritual work, but we also do excursions and adventure things like zip lining and waterfall rappelling. So it's a blend of all the earthly 3D things as well as doing some spiritual work and
connecting
connection.
to the earth again. Connecting,
Absolutely.
reconnecting,
Yeah, we always do them in places where we're going to be able to spend some good time in nature.
Yeah, where have you had them thus far?
We've done 2 Costa Rica. We're doing Portugal, which will be in Cascais and on the Azorean island of Terceira. And then we did one on sacred Native American land in Texas.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So those have been the 4. These are the 4.
Did you do a Teo Mezcal, the sweat lodge?
No.
No sweating?
This Bombay-born girl doesn't like to sweat.
That's why he came for the Chicago winters.
That's right. When I was 2, I told my parents,
Get me out of this
get me
heat.
out of this. Yeah. So
that's
no.
funny. That's one of the things I haven't done yet.
A sweat lodge?
Yeah.
How is that possible?
How is
You've
that
done
possible?
everything.
I mean, Laura she likens me to the dog from Up. She's like, squirrel.
Yeah, totally.
Squirrel.
I'd say that's accurate.
Yeah, she said, but now after the podcast, she goes, I get it. And now she goes, I understand why you were doing all those things. To pull it all together.
Yeah, to bring it together. For sure.
How long are the retreats?
The retreats, so the Texas one, it was a shorter format. It was like 4 nights. And this Portugal one is going to be 9. So
Nice.
Costa Rica have been a week.
A week.
So I think a week is the sweet spot. I think that really seems to work well. The shorter format is nice for people who aren't, for women who are just sort of entering, kind of exploring spirituality.
Yeah.
And
9's a long. I mean,
that's a commitment.
it's a chunk of time. For
Yeah,
sure.
it's a chunk of time.
Yeah, for somebody new, but if you've been dabbling in it or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, so I'm looking forward to it. And, I'm sure that they're going to continue to evolve as everything has. Sort of just one thing leads to the next. So we'll see. But it's been really great. The feedback that we've gotten has been phenomenal. And there's just this hunger for connection.
Yeah.
I think there's this false perception that since we have these little devices in our purses or our pockets that we can connect with anybody through 24/7 and have all this information at our fingertips that we're all so connected. And that couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah.
We're actually more disconnected. As a result of this and as a result of these platforms. And so people are deeply, deeply seeking connection, not just to one another, but to their own selves and their own divinity. Even though that word may not be used, it's like people will come, their essence, like I'm seeking something more.
Right.
I'm seeking something more. And that's what I was seeking. I mean, going all the way back to the beginning where I was in that corporate job that looked so perfect. I didn't know it at the time, but I was seeking something more. I was seeking something deeper, something that had more meaning for me personally, where I felt like I was having some sort of a positive impact in the world that was greater than just making rich futures traders richer.
Right.
And we'll just leave it at that.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, a deeper fulfillment. I know when I had a post-divorce big breakup, and I was talking with a dear friend, and said, "Oh, I'm so lonely." She said, "Yeah." She said, "You're not lonely for that person." She said, "You're lonely for yourself."
wow. Yeah.
And that's been my journey ever since.
Yeah.
That, and it's and it's a fun one.
Well, we've talked about it. Yeah. I totally get it. Yeah. Absolutely.
So what advice would you give to somebody who's stuck? What's a first step? Like there's that part of them that they want to go resign.
Yeah.
They don't, the marionette strings maybe aren't tight
Yeah.
yet, right?
And pulling them.
But they're kind of, they just know they're, what would you say?
Well, I'd be curious about like helping them get in touch with what is it that you want. And that's one of the first things that I'll ask people, even if they're going to do a discovery call with me or at our first session, what is it that you want, right? We need to put a destination into our GPS in order to be able to know where we're going and then it can give us some ideas of how to get there. And so I can't give people an idea of how to get there unless they tell me what they want.
Yeah.
And so you're stuck, but if you were unstuck, what would you be doing differently? How would you be feeling differently? And my curiosity is always to get to feeling rather than a specific outcome. Because
So what would it feel like if you weren't?
Or what do you want this thing to feel? If you had this thing, what would you feel? How do you think that you would feel? Because that's what people are chasing.
Yeah.
Like money is the perfect example. People don't want money because they want green paper and, like lining their walls. They want what it'll give them. Well, what'll it make you feel? Well, people will often say freedom. People will often say security, safety. So they don't want just money. They want to feel safe. They want to feel secure.
Yeah.
And can we decouple the desired feeling from the outcome that we believe is going to give us that feeling?
Right. So can we decouple the desired feeling from the outcome that we believe is going to give them the feeling?
Yes.
Okay.
Because if we can, and we almost always can, then it becomes unconditional.
Yeah,
I can feel the love before I have the person in
Yeah.
bed
Because the
next
outcome
to
is
me.
the outcome, and it's going to happen, and it's going to be done. It's going to happen, and it's going to be done.
It's going to happen. It's going to be done. But
The event or whatever the.
yes, it is. But if I can start feeling the feeling, if I can start experiencing the feeling or the emotion in advance of having the thing, that actually magnetizes the thing.
Yeah, and that goes to all the ancient teachings. I mean, there's Neville Goddard. Have you
Yes.
read Neville Goddard?
Yep.
Feel it. You're supposed to like lay there before you go to bed, and what's it going to feel like when you have this, when you're in the desired future state?
Right.
Because to the extent that you can embody that state now, you will pull it towards yourself.
Exactly. So
You're doing these things. So you get the people to begin to visualize and feelize, right?
embody.
Yeah, to embody this state, and then look at the tools needed to get the impediments out of the way.
Exactly.
That are there on the recurring, the track, the loop in the head, whatever it might be.
Yeah, the limiting beliefs, the stuckness in their bodies, whatever it is, and the emotions that are stuck, that are unprocessed, that have been stuffed down.
Yeah.
Because negative emotion is not welcome.
Not welcome in our society.
No.
No.
Except for anger.
In certain ways.
Yes.
It's welcomed. Yeah, we were having a discussion before we went on the air that through some recent meditation and all kinds of just really sludgy stuff came up, feelings, loneliness, different feelings. And I realized that for so long in my life, I didn't feel anything, big or small. And so as I've been open to the bigger feelings moving through me, then whoa, there's more.
Right, there's more.
And it's so interesting the way when we're in these stuck states. Like I came back from a trip about a month ago from New York, and I flew in kind of late, and I was driving home, and I was just mad. I was just angry. I didn't know why the hell I was angry. And I was just angry. I was pissed off, and I'm driving, and some guy just comes right up my tail.
Yeah.
And I had nowhere to, there was nowhere to go. Like, I wasn't blocking him. You know, I wasn't in the left lane going 50 like half of the people on 290. And then he went, and then I ended up nearly in a road rage incident. Like, the guy went around me, and then my instinct was I ran up his ass.
Yeah.
And then he literally, if I had not been paying attention, he cut right into my lane. I had to rip it out of my lane, or he would have hit me. Wow. And I was just, as I reflected on it, then the next day, then I used some of the tools that I'd learned at ISTA, which we're going to have Rich on here from ISTA in our next podcast. And they're emotional release tools. And so the next morning, I beat on a pillow until I was growling like a leopard. No shit. And then it was gone.
Yeah.
And then I was able to look back and go, wow, you really magnetized that experience to yourself.
Yeah.
I don't, again, and a lot of times we want to, and I did this for years, I want to figure out, why am I mad? Like, I didn't know why I was mad. Everything was fine. I was just angry.
Yeah.
And so to the extent that we can learn to feel the feelings, they'll move.
They will move.
The good ones, the bad ones, they'll all move. They're all transient.
They sure are, but we usually get in the way, or we throw, grease onto the fire.
Yeah.
And we add on to it rather than just allowing it to move through our bodies, right? Every emotion is, according to Jill Bolte Taylor, she wrote My Stroke of Insight.
Okay.
Did you ever read
I haven't
that?
read that one, though.
She has a couple of TED Talks. She's amazing. And she's a neuroscientist who experienced a stroke from inside of herself. So she had a stroke, and she knew what was happening as things were shutting down in her brain. And she was aware of what was going offline.
Yeah, she knew the physiology.
She did. She knew what was going offline. And she had a significant stroke and then recovery from it over some period of time. But she lost the left side of her brain, basically. Okay. And so she was just, everything was open.
Wow.
Her consciousness was just completely open.
Yeah.
And she really understood how expansive we really are. And she even thought, like, how could all of this expansiveness be stuffed into this little human body? How is it even possible? And she just felt just the purest love and connection to everyone and everything. And it was just like really cool.
I would have quit rehab and just,
yeah, right.
I'm good here.
Exactly. This is, totally.
Yeah.
So, but she said that every emotion takes about 90 seconds, 45 to 90 seconds to actually, the biochemistry of an emotion takes that long to move through our body.
Interesting.
Unimpeded. But we get in the way. Well, and so then we amplify it, magnetize it, and talk about it, and then keep talking about it the next day. You won't believe what's happened to me yesterday driving.
Guilty. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And so then we just add to it and add to it and add to it. And so what you did the next day of just letting it move through you, punching the pillow and growling like a leopard, you were done.
And I was
the biochemistry moved through.
I wasn't doing the growling. Like, the growling was like being done.
You were being growled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you really get down and just let them go, the body knows what it wants to do.
It knows what it was. And all it is sound. It's just a sound vibration. Right. The vibration came out as sound.
Yeah.
The vibration came out as movement.
Yeah.
Right?
And in this largely corporate environment that we live in today, I mean, I do feel for women because they're expected to not show any emotion. I mean, men aren't. Men are prototypically less emotional, let's say, have been over time, I would say, conditioned to be less emotional. The corporate world has done that. And women were not in the corporate world for many, many years, right? If we go back, 50 years, largely.
Right. And they were secretaries.
They were secretaries, right? But they weren't allowed to show emotion then. And now, as they've moved into the executive ranks, it's all clamped down. Yeah.
I don't know if I ever even wrote it, but it was check your Y chromosome at the door.
Yeah.
For women that are in corporate, because it's like, well, you can be here, but you can't be too feminine. You can't be too sexy. You can't be too emotional.
Right.
You can't
Don't get
be
angry or you're a bitch.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Or don't, try to advance yourself because then you're aggressive.
Right.
And, and displaying the traits that men would display because we're in a man's world, were looked down upon. They were looked upon negatively.
Negatively, yeah. I also find it interesting. I was just working a conference in New York last week, and I'm trained in a lot of different fascial moves, and I know these human garage moves that you can do for yourself. And so I was showing a couple of the people there. I mean, it's just some twists and things like that, but everybody's self-conscious about who might see them, being all twisted up, and it's like, why? Twist and shout, baby! Like,
Yeah.
it's just an interesting culture and an unnatural one.
Yeah.
To a human.
Price. And people are paying the price. I mean, everybody's nervous system is really on edge. And, we're fatter and sicker and more unhealthy than we've ever been.
Yeah.
As a population. So something is really not working.
Something's not right. It's out of alignment in big ways.
Huge. Yeah.
But more and more coming. I hold the optimistic stance that more and more people are waking up to this.
I agree.
And they're seeking out ways of transforming.
Absolutely. And that's where people like you who are bringing this kind of material out into the world, really make a big difference.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you. This was
great
great fun.
Rocco, thanks for your input, buddy.
Yeah, I know. He's
I don't think I think his nervous system's fine.
I know.
He slept for the entire thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You might hear him snoring in the background.
Telling you, if we could, he is like a teacher.
Well, yeah, right. That's what, and Jonathan Tripodi would say this. He's the myofascial guy that I worked with in one of my podcasts. But, when there's an emotion, when there's something that frightens a dog or sets them off, their adrenaline goes.
Yep.
They're on alert, and then they shake.
Yep.
And the shaking is the diffusion of the emotion and the movement of the emotion. And then they're fine. Wagging their tail, the next thing, they're fine.
Moving on.
And us with our little reptilian brains and the other parts, and we just hold on to it. And we don't want to shake. We don't want to twist. But I'm here to tell you, twist and shout.
Twist and shout. Absolutely,
Let
baby.
it out.
Yeah, for sure.
Let it all go.
Absolutely. I mean, animals live more closely to their just natural design.
Yeah.
Right? Because they don't have this prefrontal cortex.
They're not aware they're aware.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they just are.
Right.
And this amazing prefrontal cortex that allows us to do these incredible things also gets in the way. So much of the natural way that we're designed. We're designed to twist and shout and run and jump and be together.
And hug.
And show emotion and feel all the feels.
Yeah.
Like, how do I know? Because we have these feelings. We have this huge range of emotion.
Why would we have them?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the most natural thing. And to disallow a child, whether a boy or a girl or
Doesn't matter. Human,
whatever,
small human.
that's not okay.
Right.
And then either shame or punish or whatever is doing everyone a great disservice. And so now this work undoes that.